Hi, welcome to COMM654, Social Marketing. I'm going to be your instructor. My name's Dr. Elizabeth Cohen. Obviously, I'm a professor in the Communication Studies department, like probably all of the other instructors you've had throughout this course. I'm just going to spend the next 15 to 20 minutes kind of hitting some highlights about the syllabus and what we're going to be doing in this class to give you an idea about what you're going to be expected to do and make sure that this is something that you want to do. One thing I need to say right off the bat is that this class is technically called social marketing, not social media marketing. Sometimes that gets really confusing for people, so I want you to make sure that you've actually signed up for a class with something that you want to do, because although social media could be a component of social marketing actually has nothing to do with social media. Social marketing is actually something that was really a term that was coined in the 70s to refer to different types of communication campaigns that focus on influencing people's social behaviors in some way. It's different than a political campaign. You're not trying to influence people's political behaviors like voting. It's different than traditional marketing. You're not trying to influence people to buy something. Really what social marketing is trying to engineer society to do things in society's best interest. So public health campaigns would be considered social marketing. You know, campaigns that would try to get people to quit smoking or cut back on drinking or recycle more. It's not really public health, well, it could be, you know, but those are the types of campaigns that social marketing deals with. It's all about trying to sell people a behavior in the same way that we sell people a product. So again, I just want to be clear, we're not going to be talking about social media so much in this class. What we will be talking about is different strategies, well, really the whole strategy, like the step-by-step process to get people, a large group of people, to change their behaviors in some sort of pro-social way. And what you're going to have to do for this class is think of a particular type of social behavior that you want to focus on, something that would affect a very large group of people. So it's not just something that you'd want, like, you know, your family to do. It would be something that you'd want a large percent of the population to do in order to improve their health, to improve the environment, to improve other people's well-being, whatever the case is, right? It can be a safety campaign, it can be a health campaign, it can be an environmental campaign, but you know, you're going to have to think of a topic that you're really passionate about, and then we're going to go through step by step each week and add a different layer into how you would develop a campaign to actually change people's perceptions about an issue, and then down the line their behaviors in terms of how they do things. So you will read more about that. You'll read much more. Your book, which maybe now's a good time to bring in the book. This is what your book looks like. Mine is really dog-eared because I've had it for you know, quite a few years here. It's called, I can't get this. Social Marketing, Changing Behaviors for Good. And I think that's a good way of remembering what social marketing is. I mean, changing behaviors for good, of course, has a double meaning. It's to mean permanently, but social marketing really is trying to figure out, okay, how do we launch some sort of communication campaign so that we can change behaviors in a pro-social way for good. So you'll need to get this book. To be honest with you, I don't know how much it costs. I'm not even sure all the different places you could get it, although I'm sure our university bookstore carries it, as well as Amazon, etc., etc. I also am aware that there are places to rent it, so it's not necessarily something that you have to buy for good. So, but the book is actually going to be really, really important. I'm going to do little lectures like this each week. And I mean, when I say like this, I mean like this. I'm not a lecturer with PowerPoints, or I'm not going to get up on the whiteboard and, well, sometimes maybe, but write things down that you take notes on. It's really just me talking to you. And what I'm trying to do in these little lectures is just sift through the information in your book and pull out the things that I think are the most important or the most helpful, so that when you're trying to make sense of everything that you read, I can give you sort of like a synopsis. So I really don't think that, you know, relying on what I say alone is going to help you. You're going to need the book. But likewise, if the book is a little too much, then hopefully these summary lectures will be helpful. Okay, so you need to get that. The other thing that you're obviously going to need for this class is an internet connection. It is an online class, an online program, and everything, like probably the other classes you've taken in this program, is going to be on eCampus. I will post any discussions that we have will be on eCampus. Any worksheets. Basically, every week you're going to have readings to do, and then you're going to have some sort of worksheet or task to do that lines up with your readings. More often than not worksheets, but sometimes we'll do discussions in lieu of that. And basically those worksheets are going to be posted on eCampus as a Word document. You're going to download that Word document, you're going to fill it out, and then you're going to have to re-upload it into a portal on eCampus. And what else do we have to do? Oh, and of course, any major assignments you have to do, like for instance, your final project. All that stuff is going to be on eCampus, so it's really important that you have access to eCampus. All the assignments in this class are going to be due on Sunday nights at 11:59 p.m. So basically, you have one full week from the end of the last Sunday to the end of the next Sunday to accomplish all of your tasks for that week, which again, normally consist of reading and then doing a worksheet. Occasionally when we have discussions, I will ask you to be a little bit quicker, and I'll try to give you a heads up on that. And that's just because we can't really have a discussion if everybody posts at 11:59 p.m. on a Sunday. So occasionally I'll ask you to, to kind of get involved like a little bit more early in the week, but more often than not, you're going to need to go on there at 11:59 p.m. But I still recommend that you check eCampus daily. Just get in the habit, in the same way you might log in and check your email or something like that, just in case I have any announcements or anything like that. I'll try to touch base at least once a week, just to make comments about your progress and things like that. But if something comes up and I have to change a deadline or reading or something like that, I will post it on eCampus. So I just want you to make sure that you're in the loop. Okay. You can see, I'm going to let you read this for yourself. You can see the distribution for assignments down here. I already kind of covered them. The only thing I didn't mention is that you do need to do this week a syllabus quiz, which is also posted on eCampus, and that's worth more points than what your typical weekly activities would be. It's just super important for me. And honestly, there's no reason you shouldn't get full credit on this, because I let you take it as many times as you want to take it. But the catch is I want you to take it as many times as you need to get all of the questions right, because I just want to make sure you understand what's going on in the class. Yeah, the other information I have on here is how to get in touch with me. Look, email is really great for me because I've got email on my phone, and so I can check it. I'm a little less available on the weekend because I do like to be a human being, like disconnected from technology sometimes. But really, email is the best way to get in touch with me. Now, having said that, especially in this class, I found that talking on the phone can be really, really useful, especially once we start getting more towards the middle of the semester, where I would argue that the ideas that we're dealing with get a little bit more complicated, and sometimes my summary videos aren't enough. Also, on your assignments each week, I'm going to leave you feedback. And I would say probably, tricky is the wrong word, but one of the things that I see students stumble with most in this class is just keeping up with the feedback each week, because this isn't a class where you can do one assignment and then the next week the next assignment is going to be completely unrelated to the last one that you did. So if you don't do good on one assignment, you can do well on the next assignment. It's not like that. This class is very much cumulative, where if you don't do well on one assignment, then you don't have the foundation that you need to move on to the next assignment. So the reason I'm mentioning this is because I try to leave very detailed feedback for you to make sure that you can get what you need from one assignment so that you can be successful on the next assignment. Okay. I try. But sometimes, look, it's hard, right? Sometimes it's just easier to convey things when we're talking to each other, and you can have direct synchronous feedback on that. And so if my notes aren't making sense to you, whether they're on your paper or on these summary lectures, then don't hesitate to reach out and say, hey, Dr. Cohen, can we talk about this? And what we'll do is we'll set up a phone meeting. Sometimes I might ask to set up a phone meeting with you. This happens a lot when, I've been going through your work and I'm like, gosh, I've graded this 3 times, or each week I keep seeing the same thing, and I don't feel like I'm connecting well enough. And so what I'll do is I'll reach out and be like, hey, can we set up a phone conversation? it's really no big deal. I just find it's so much more effective in an online class to occasionally have that kind of contact, to avoid miscommunications and just get things done more efficiently. So please know that's an option. If you want to talk to me, you know, on the phone or even come into my office. Some of you guys I know are probably local. What I want you to do is just send me an email and say, when can we set, you know, up a time? This semester I'm teaching a lot on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but my schedule is, you know, still flexible enough that even on those days I could probably find some free time. And certainly on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, unless I'm out of town or at a conference or something, I can always squeeze you in somehow, I'm sure. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the stuff that I can skip and you can read on your own versus what I want to tell you. Yeah, so, you know, just to sort of give you like an overview of the semester, it's basically like every week you're going to be getting a lot of little points for these assignments, these worksheets that you do. And then at the end of the semester, about the same amount of points for your entire, for the entire semester is going to come, like half from your weekly assignments and then the other half from your final proposal. But I know that sounds like a lot, like, whoa, why is like the final proposal worth so much of what we did in class? Well, it's hopefully supposed to help you because of the way that this class is structured is in theory, and I know people who have done it, so I know it can happen. You can be working on your final proposal as you're doing your weekly assignments so that at the end of the semester, you really have not that much to do because you've been kind of assembling your proposal as you go along each week. And in that way, it's supposed to be kind of like the final proposal, if you've been keeping up with your assignments, really shouldn't be that challenging, and you really shouldn't have concerns about how well you do on it, because it's really just kind of putting together all of the stuff that you've done up until then. And that's why I don't really feel bad about weighting it that way. It doesn't, you know, I'm obviously not going to know when you work on your final project. I'm just going to see the end result. But throughout the semester, I'm going to do my hardest to remind you to say, like, hey, you've, you know, already gone through half of the legwork for your final proposal. Why don't you just start writing it up and putting it in there so you don't have so much work to do at the end? The only other assignment you're going to have to do after that final proposal is what I call a video pitch. And this is, I admit, it started off as like something that I wanted to be a little bit formal, but I just enjoyed it a lot, not as a opportunity for you to hone in your public speaking skills or anything, but more of an opportunity for me and your classmates to see what you've been working on. So now I kind of call it a show and tell, but at the end of the day, what you're going to do is exactly what I'm doing here. You are going to be on the other side of the camera. You're going to talk to us about your final proposal, and you're going to post that video to YouTube and then upload it to eCampus so that we can all see what you've been working on. And again, I don't expect it to be a really formal presentation as if you were actually trying to get grant money to do, you know, social marketing campaign. But, you know, I look at it more as like, hey, let's kind of like take a step back and see what everybody has been working on for the past 4 months. So that's it. That's it. No big deal, right? That's what you got to do this semester. There's all this stuff down here about like, oh, tech support, you know, make sure you know how to contact tech support if you need it. Late assignments, I'll just say, like, I actually usually don't accept late assignments except for the final proposal, because I figure everybody's got a week to do this and then we got to keep moving. So you can do your assignments whenever you want within the week, but, you know, after that week's gone, we're moving on. You know, I don't accept late assignments. On that note, I will mention that I try as hard as possible, and this semester it might not happen every week, but I try, if you guys turn in your, well, you will, you'll turn in your worksheets each week on Sunday night. I try as hard as I can to grade everything on Monday. That way, Tuesday, you can start rolling again, take the feedback that I've given you, and move on, okay? So, if I'm not going to get things back by the end of the day on Monday, I'll try to, you know, post something on eCampus or email you and let you know. But more often than not, I have been pretty successful at getting things done that way. So that's kind of the flow or how it's going to go. Academic dishonesty, don't plagiarize, be honest, I don't know. Drop policy, you know, if you're thinking about dropping, I've got a date for that on the syllabus. Yeah, all of this is pretty much whatever. Okay, the only thing I want to like sort of like I guess end with here is I added this pro tips for this course. It's like on the second to last page before you get to the calendar. Um, and most online courses, because I'm like, I started writing this up and I was like, this is for this course. I've taught this course for probably maybe 4 years now, like every spring and fall semester for about 4 years. And I've just observed, I have a much better idea of what it takes to be successful. And what are sort of the pitfall, like what are the things that get people in trouble, let's say. So I put together this little pro tips, but the truth is I realize it kind of applies to all online courses. But I'll just kind of summarize these really quickly, which is one of them is you really should try to set aside a certain time each week that you can focus on it. And it's just because we all have these complicated lives, and if you don't get into a routine, it's really easy to forget about it. At least if you have a routine, right, it after a couple of weeks, you'll sort of be programmed to pay attention to what, like your readings and stuff like that. And people who've been in this course have told, and they've all had different schedules. Look, some people I know don't even start to look at this until like Thursday, whereas others, I mean, I like literally every week they're emailing me on Tuesday asking me questions about the comments or whatever. I guess, I mean, that's the point. Everybody sort of has their own flow, but you want to get into a flow if you can. Important, and I'm going to start to sound like a broken record, but you really have no idea. Don't work on assignments until you have received my feedback. It is, I'm not going to lie to you, it's a huge pet peeve of mine that I spend hours trying to put this feedback, on these worksheets to make sure, because you kind of need it. Like, it's not just like, I like get my jollies from like, reading and writing on people's papers. It's really not that. It's more of like, I'm trying to give you information so that the next week you won't make the same mistake and I won't have to make the same comments over and over again, right? So just, it's really important for you to look at the feedback that you're giving and trying to interpret that, trying to integrate that into, the next task that you're doing. This one sounds a little bitchy, I'll admit, but don't believe that you're more busy, overwhelmed, or stressed than any other person in this course. In other words, like, don't think you're special. But I see it does sound really bitchy. But let me tell you where it comes from. One of the challenges that I think is also inherent to online classes is you're kind of alone and isolated. Whereas my students in my offline courses, they commiserate with each other a lot. They're in touch with each other. They see, not completely, but they see what other people are going through a little bit more. And especially in the corporate MA program, where most everybody in this program is non-traditional. Like, being a student is not the only thing you do. Everybody's doing lots of different things. I've noticed that some people kind of get this weird like tunnel vision where they can only sort of see what's happening, to them and what's going on with them. And it can really do a number because it can make you feel alone, and it can make you feel like things that are going wrong with you are only going wrong with you. And that affects academic performance and on all sorts of levels. So, one thing I would recommend sort of, related, actually it's another recommendation I'd have, is to help avoid this is talk to other people in class, even though it's not required. And I actually do not require weekly discussions like I know some other courses do. I think it's good to like make contacts outside that you can just run things by and be in touch with. It's not a complete resolve, but it can help. The other thing I want to say is if something does happen, if something really crazy, like out of the ordinary happens, because even though I said I was like, you're not special. I mean, look, sometimes things happen, I get it. Don't fall off the map. Again, this is another thing that like doesn't happen as much in in-person classes, but I see it happen all the time in online courses. For whatever reason, students will just not show up. Like, I won't see them anymore. I won't get assignments from them anymore. I don't know what's going on. And there are various reasons for it, but don't. I can't do anything when you stop, right? If things are coming up, it's your responsibility to let me know ahead of time. And I can't promise I'll be able to do anything, but you don't know unless you reach out to me, right? I think it's just easy not to reach out to me because I'm so distant. And that's how it feels in these online classes. So the only thing I can really do is say, fight that urge. Now look, I'll say one more thing. I've actually observed in these corporate MA classes that I actually have students that are willing to work harder than some of my on-campus students. And I think part of it is because of the different life stage you're in, right? A lot of you guys are already well equipped to balance a lot of things, to juggle jobs and families and things like that. And even though it's hard, you're more adept at doing it, right? But, you know, there's other situations, you know, I think because everybody can sort of hide behind their computer screen. Like I know a lot of people in this program are on assistantships. Some of actually the best students I've had have been on assistantships, and they are maybe coaching athletic teams or whatever while they're trying to negotiate, you know, their way through this program. But sometimes the only reason that you're in this program is because I know that's how you get your assistantship. And honestly, that's fine too. But it's for those, it's for that reason that I get kind of prickly about people falling off the map, because I don't really, if you're not in communication with me, I'm not sure if you're doing it because you're just trying to sign up for a class and get through with it, or if you actually have legitimate issues that you need assistance with. So I really need you to be in contact with me. That's all. You know, on that note, I guess I already said this anyway, but it is one of the pieces of advice. I'm really sorry about the broken record. Reach out to me when you need it. That's it. Just always start with an email. That's the best way to do it. I think I have my phone number, maybe. Yeah, I do. I have my cell phone number on the syllabus up here, but to be honest with you, if there's an unrecognizable number on my phone, even if I have it with me, I'm not picking it up. I'm just like not into that. My husband does it, and I'm like, what are you doing? You don't know who that is. You might end up like in a long conversation with somebody you don't want to talk to. I know there are worse things in the world, but I'm just one of those people that I'm always like, if it's that important, people can leave a message. But if you email me ahead of time and I'm like expecting your call, not only will I pick up, but we can also set enough time that we can talk about things or whatever. But okay. Enough. That's it. What I need you to do now is introduce yourself to me. And I do say me because I'm guessing that most of you probably know each other. I don't know. The cohort effects are kind of weird. But I am sorry if you have to like constantly introduce yourself and cut and paste the same introduction in all your classes. But I would like to know a little bit about who you are. On that note, you don't have to, but if you could post a picture like on your eCampus, it helps me just get to know you and see who you are when you're talking. The few times it happens this semester, I'd really appreciate that. And the other thing you need to do after you post that to eCampus is, you know, on the discussion board, I'll have like a little, you know, intro set up for you. The other thing I need you to do is work on that syllabus quiz. It's a syllabus and eCampus quiz to just help you understand where things are on eCampus when you need them, and then just make sure you understand a couple of the policies that I reviewed here. And that's what you got to do for the first week. That's your homework assignment. Oh, sorry, one other thing I want you to post in that discussion board is not just to introduce yourself, but remember, you're going to be working with a topic all semester, some social marketing topic that you want to do for your final proposal. I want you to start thinking about something that you're passionate about, some cause. Think about it as a cause, okay? This, again, it's not political, it's not marketing. A cause can't be like, oh, I want to get more people into my store. That's not a cause. I mean, that's a business cause, but we're thinking about social causes. So if you say, oh, I want to get more college students to not vape, that's a cause. Or I want to get more funding for breast cancer research, or I'm really passionate about, you know, getting dogs adopted or something like that, right? Those are causes. I want you to think about something that you are interested in, you'd like to do more research about, and you want to think about how to actually change behaviors to do that. So that's the other thing I'd just like you to start brainstorming on the discussion board. Okay, that's been longer than 20 minutes. I'm sorry that's going to happen all semester long, but you'll get used to it. I hate to say it. That's the worst. Anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing you on eCampus. Have a really good first week in all of your classes. Bye.